Welcome to this would be day four's lecture. Today we're going to talk about pre-production, production, and post-production. Some of the things that you're going to have to do in pre-production, it's mainly planning and organizing. You're going to have to go to meetings. You're going to have to meet clients. You're going to figure out what your client wants, what your director wants, what different things, and it's just um, planning and getting ready for your project. So you might have to do some concept development. You might have to outline some different things of what you're going to do. You're going to have to come up with a script. You're going to start with a rough. If you're working for a client, you might have to write a rough script, hand it to the client. They're going to give you ideas. Um, you might have to go through a couple different um, versions of your script until you get a final okay. So your scripting process can be, where it changes through the process. And again, a big part of this is planning and organizing. Um, why would your budget be important? Your budget is important because it lets you know what kind of equipment you can use. It can tell you who you can hire for crew, if you can hire talent, different things like that. In my first job, the commercials we shot usually had zero budgets. So that meant my roommates, my girlfriend, and my wife now were in a lot of commercials I shot because it was kind of a volunteer free thing. We didn't have budgets to be able to hire a lot of people. And um, when it came to crew, I was the shooter. I was the grip electric. I was the person that did a lot of everything. So that was with no budget. When we start talking about Hollywood type of things, like when you think of The Hobbit, movies like that, you kind of have unlimited budgets. You have hundreds of people working on a project, and you're working with some of the best equipment available. Okay. The other thing you need to think of is the legal side of things. You should have a contract when you're working for people. You should have production insurance. So if somebody gets hurt on your set, you don't lose everything type of things. Um, a handshake is not worth a lot. If you are working for a client and it's a handshake and something happens and they say shut the project down, you don't have a lot of legal basis or legal ground to stand on because you don't have a contract that says, hey, you did this work and this is what you get paid for. You might need to do location scouting. You need to block your script and prepare a shooting script. Two of the things you have to do for this class is you're going to have to do a short treatment or a paragraph on what you're going to accomplish. So on your continuity project, if it is a step-by-step process of you going to work, you know, you would write a little paragraph of, if this story starts out with somebody getting out of bed and it's their process of what they have to do on the way to getting to work. And then the shot list would be a list of shots you think you need to tell that story. Remember, this is planning and organizing. It is not set in stone. So you use this to make things easier as you go, but sometimes you're going to have to make changes. Okay, so that is your pre-production kind of lecture, and your pre-production leads you into production. Okay, so what kind of equipment? The one thing I didn't put in here is a schedule. Without a schedule, how do you know where you're supposed to be, when things are supposed to be done? If you have a crew, they need to know, where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, and when they're not supposed to be there. The other thing about you're blocking the script, blocking has to do with your budget also. So if you have let's say a 2-month shoot and you have somebody that's you have one location, and it's the beginning of the script and it's the end of the movie. Okay, and let's say you have a waiter that's in the very first scene and the last scene. Would you set those up and keep those people on set for 2 months? No, you would shoot at that location once, and you shoot the beginning scene and the ending scene right away. And that way you pay your waiter a half-day rate. He's in the movie. You shoot the 2 scenes he's in, you get him off the set. Okay, and then you only have the cost of 1 setup instead of 2 setups. So when you blot your script, they're going to be 90 pages away from each other from the beginning to the end. But on your shooting script, they're going to be the first 2 things you shoot. Again, it comes back to your budget and your organization and planning. Okay, and that way you only have 1 setup instead of 2 days of setup. So again, you're saved your budget. Okay, you're being efficient. You're planning. You're being a good producer. So that's our pre-production lecture. The next lecture will be on production.